NBA is totally committed to supporting human rights. Yeah, unless their billions are at stake. A new report reveals the owners of a number of NBA teams have a collective $10 billion of personal wealth tied up in communist China. From Nets owner Jimmy Tsai, with over 53% of his net worth there, to Charlotte Hornets owner, my ex-boyfriend Michael Jordan, it appears NBA owners are directly profiting from a regime that has committed genocide and political oppression. So is there any way for the league to recover what's left of their reputation? Here with me now, former Sideline reporter and host of the new podcast, Sideline Sanity, with Michele Tafoya, debuting on Monday. Michele Tafoya is here.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to be with you.
I'm excited to be on your podcast
next week.
Yep. I cannot wait. And I'm also excited because you've been on my podcast.
Yes,
and you've been phenomenal.
Aww.
And your global understanding of sports and politics is unmatched.
Oh, well.
So what do you see here? You know, you've got a bunch of people like Michael Jordan committing $100 million to racial equity in this country, but they have no problem investing in China and filing lawsuits over there when there's trademark infringement, while people are being thrown into prison camps and killed.
Exactly. The hypocrisy is bad, right? The optics are terrible. And the study that you cited was from ESPN. I'll give them credit, ESPN, because they own a 5% stake in NBA China.
Yes.
And yet they still did this story. So kudos to them. Yeah, the issue becomes when you're giving so much money here in America to social justice causes and then ignoring the fact that there's slavery and genocide in China, where you're making a fortune. NBA China is worth about $5 billion. That's a lot of money. And some of these owners, Mickey Arison of the Miami Heat, has a ton of money tied up in Carnival. He's the chairman of Carnival Cruises. They have gotten together with a Chinese shipbuilder that is related to the Chinese military, state-run, with ties to the military, that the United States government has deemed sort of not doing things that are really hunky-dory with Americans, but it's okay with Mickey Arison. And you have to ask yourself, are these ships that they're building going to be involved in some sort of conflict that Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat, has contributed to in this way?
Yes, in his partnership, enriching himself, but also through that partnership, allowing this aspect to make enough money to build nuclear warships that someday could attack the United States or our allies. You know, these are very murky waters. So why isn't there better ethical oversight with the NBA?
You know, that's a great question. The other interesting thing about this report that I read or didn't read, none of these guys would comment. None of these principal owners would comment for this story. 40 of them requested interviews. Adam Silver, the commissioner who I have worked with, his deputy commissioner, no one would comment on this story. Why is that? That kind of silence is deafening to me.
Yes.
You don't have anything to say about this? Nothing at all? You're fine just ripping on the United States and our past misdeeds, or even some of our current misdeeds, but that's not what's going on in China. What's going on in China is awful. It's hideous. It's genocide. I mean, what could be worse, right? So the fact that they're not willing to comment, and the fact that they are not willing to even threaten those ties with that country, is really troublesome for me, and I think for a lot of people.
Yes, and Tsai has said that 80 to 90% of the people in Hong Kong and in China like that their lives are improving. What about the 10%? What about the 10% who are being targeted by the government with facial recognition technology to round them up and throw them into prison camps where they're forced into slave labor or they're sterilized? I think, you know, there's something to be said for standing up for the 10% who cannot fight for themselves. And I love capitalism, but when you're dealing with a communist regime, that's not a free market.
We have had so much to say about our, like I said before, about our own misdeeds, about American slavery that is over and done with.
Yes.
We are still punishing ourselves constantly for that misdeed. And I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, if you're going to do that, why are you going to sanction it somewhere else by having your businesses so tied up with that country that is, it's not a free country.
It's amazing how money can allow you to turn a blind eye. You can do well and do good at the same time. They have not figured that out. You have figured it all out. Can't wait to listen to and be on your podcast next week. Thank you, Michele.
We'll talk to you then. Thank you.
You're awesome.